Hi everyone, it's Eric from ecartman12.blogspot.com, and this is the video you have all been waiting for. This is my full review of Apple's third generation iPad, also known as the new iPad and the iPad 3. A big thank you must go to Vodafone for sending this over to review. The version I actually have here is the 16GB Wi-Fi plus 3G model. Now I want to talk through what I've been finding with the iPad 3. In the 3 weeks I've had it, I've experienced pros and cons. Let's start off with the negatives first. Now the battery on this iPad is great. You are still getting the 9 to 10 hour battery life. However, the charging is significantly slower. Now the reason behind this is because Apple gave the iPad 3 a bigger battery to accommodate the newer features, including that Retina display. So as a result, it takes a lot longer to charge. Charging this iPad all the way up to 100% takes 6 to 7 hours long. That is ridiculous. Apple could have given us a charger that would charge the battery quicker, but they didn't, unfortunately, so you will just have to deal with the longer charging times. Also, the iPad 3 does get quite warm when you are using it intensively, especially for gaming. I found it to be getting warm on both these sides over here and on the back, and at one point it was not warm but hot. When I was playing an intensive game for prolonged periods of time, the back got hot. Not a deal breaker, but it is an annoyance. Also, the other thing I didn't like was that the new iPad has sharper edges. Now, since the new iPad has gotten a little heavier due to the larger battery, the sharp edges do tend to sink into your palms when you are holding it. At first, it is not an issue, but eventually it does start to dig in, and then I would want to put it down to rest my hands. So you wouldn't want to be using this for long periods of time unless you rest it on something. Now, those are really the only 3 negatives I had with this iPad. We may encounter some more throughout this review. Now let's talk about the positives. Let's start off with the screen. Apple have finally given us the Retina display, and it is fantastic. It is absolutely pin sharp and a real joy to look at. Performance on this iPad is exactly the same as the previous generation. However, when developers take advantage of the new Retina display and update their apps, games will look more detailed and run smoother as well. Now I am going to tap into a game, Predators. Now the reason I am loading this particular game is because during my time with this new iPad, an update was released for Predators, and it takes advantage of the new Retina display, and it looks awesome. Let's quickly get into it. Okay, so here is the game, and the textures look smoother and the graphics look more detailed. So let's play a little bit of this. Okay, I'm going to exit out of this game now. I did a full review of this game for the iPad on iOS App TV. The link to that video will be in the description, and you can go and check that out. Now I also took a screenshot of the Predators game, and it is in the Photos app. Here it is, and you can see that there is a lot more detail in the actual game. You can see when I am zooming into the Predator here that he looks very clear, even if I zoom all the way in. His character model doesn't look that impressive, but you get the idea that Retina display games look more detailed. Now it also has another upgraded feature, and that is a 5 megapixel camera, which is capable of capturing 1080p HD video. The video this produces is great. Not really up there with 1080p video from proper camcorders or DSLRs, but it is more than acceptable. Now the 5 megapixel photos are good, but one of the downsides is that it is still bad in low light situations, so when you are indoors trying to take photos you will end up with grainy results. Now Apple should have put a flash into this iPad because that would have helped for indoor photos. When I heard a camera would be in the iPad a few years ago, my intentions would be to take family photos indoors, say whilst you were at your grandma's house or something. Instead, you can only achieve better results if you are outdoors. Now, I would never go outside with my iPad to take photos. If you were to take this walking down the street, you might as well have a neon sign around your neck saying, "Please, mug me. If you smash all my teeth out, you can take this expensive iPad." At least that's how it would seem where I live. But back on topic, the photos are pretty good outdoors, but it's a shame as I will never be using it. Now, the front-facing camera is the same as the one in the iPad 2. Absolute rubbish and hasn't changed at all. Very disappointed, Apple. Now, using this for media consumption is a real joy, as the screen is very nice to look at, and it just enhances the overall experience. Do you know what else would enhance the experience? If we wouldn't have to keep converting our videos to a specific file format. Also, it would have been nice if Apple gave us stereo speakers, but unfortunately we will have to wait for those in the iPad 4 if Apple decide to integrate them. Now you can also scale up regular iPhone apps to use on the iPad, but normally they look pretty crap because you're scaling up an image that is meant for a small screen, and scaling it to a bigger screen will only result in a blurred image. However, Retina iPhone apps is another story altogether. they will look much better on the Retina iPad, and it really does show. Now to sum up, the screen is great, the form factor is very nice, the performance is nice. However, Apple should have given us a full quad-core processor. I think they have done an incremental update rather than a fantastic update. If you are a current iPad 2 owner, then you shouldn't look into spending the money to upgrade to the iPad 3. It is a non-essential upgrade in that respect. If you haven't got an iPad at all, or you have a first generation iPad, then this would be a fantastic purchase. Will I be getting one? No. I really do like the iPad, but in the 3 weeks I've had it, I have noticed that it does not warrant me paying £400 or more for it, as I would not get much use out of it. It is a very nice tablet and web browsing on it is a joy, but I don't need an iPad, but I do need a new laptop. And I could put the money towards a nice new laptop and get much more use out of it. But that's just me. Certainly many of you would have reasons that would warrant the purchase, but I don't. Now you can pick up the iPad 3 Wi-Fi plus 3G models up from vodafone.co.uk in either a 16GB, 32GB or 64GB capacities. The 16GB version I have here will cost £199 for the tablet and £27 a month, and that will give you 2GB of 3G connectivity so you can stay connected to the internet whilst you are out and about. If you want the higher capacities, then you will add £75 to all of those prices. So this was my review of the iPad 3, an absolutely fantastic tablet device from Apple. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Eric from ecotman12.blogspot.com, and I will see you all in the next video.